Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining my session. The purpose of this discussion is to talk about some trending topics such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, business process automation, and other emerging technologies. We will also discuss what these solutions are. We'll discuss what these solutions are not. And most importantly, we will discuss how an organization can assess where they are within their digital transformation maturity. So, just to tell you a little bit about myself, I am Justin Goldston, and I am a professor of project and supply chain management at Penn State University in the United States. I am also a faculty affiliate for the Center for Business of Sustainability within the Smill College of Business at Penn State. I also work with the Clean Energy Smart Manufacturing Innovation Institute, and that is an institute that is funded by the U.S. Department of Energy. And what SESME's mission is to democratize technology. And I am very aligned with that organization's mission because it's aligned with my mission. Because I think that in order to reach a truly sustainable world, we must share the knowledge of organizations, of these large organizations that are implementing these solutions, that are creating these solutions, the universities that are creating these solutions, so that these solutions are available to everyone. And in doing that, we are going to achieve a sustainable world. So, in getting into the discussion, I would say one of my favorite slides is the voice of the industry slide. I will also say that it is a pre-COVID slide, and I also want to preface that in a pre-COVID Gartner study, Gartner noted that augmented intelligence would create a $2.9 trillion business and lead to an increase in 6.2 billion hours of productivity globally by 2021. Now, I specifically stress pre-COVID in that we experienced an accelerated adoption of artificial intelligence, of machine learning, with this current pandemic, and with that, organizations have experienced the benefits. They have performed lessons learned, and they have improved upon the tools themselves and the implementation approaches to put these tools within their organizations. I also will say that we hear the term Industry 4.0, and Industry 4.0 was first introduced in 2011 in Germany, and it was grounded upon the idea of cyber physical systems. Within the manufacturing industry, we also refer to it as cyber physical production systems. As we reach the end of the first decade of Industry 4.0, we have the adoption of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and blockchain. Now, given that those tools were not mentioned in 2011, and given that those tools have disrupted the industry among other industries, I feel that we are moving out of Industry 4.0 and into Industry 4.5. Now, with this increase in interoperability, I also think that we're going to enter into what we're going to refer to as integrated intelligent automation. So what I mean by that is that we're going to take the blockchain, we're going to blockchain technologies, we're going to take the machine learning technology, we're going to take the deep learning, we're going to take the artificial intelligence, and we're going to integrate all those tools. We're going to integrate those tools in with sensors. We're going to integrate those tools within our ERP applications, and we're going to create that true smart factory that was envisioned back in 2011. Now, On this slide, you see the term AI at the top. Now, I'm going to frame this discussion in that the AI at the top level does not stand for artificial intelligence. I'll refer to it as augmented intelligence. Now, artificial intelligence is a tool that is an input into augmented intelligence, and it's only that. Now, augmented intelligence is essentially the result. It is the output of the tools such as artificial intelligence, such as machine learning, such as robot process automation. And we're going to go through those tools now. So at the I would say at the lowest level, business process automation is one of those tools that have been around for a while. Business process automation is also referred to as workflow within enterprise resource planning applications, and BPA can automate repetitive processes such as invoicing, AR and AP processing, PO approvals, among other repetitive processes within an organization. Now, also BPA can is relatively easy to scale. It's even standalone business process automation is could be fairly expensive. So I would say that I've actually had a lot of success in implementing business process automation tools, and some people would refer BP to BPA as dumb AI, but and that's because the limitations is that it is indeed somewhat rigid. But I would also say that in some environments, in some smaller environments, that's all some organizations need. So I will stop by saying that there is no one size fits all approach in terms of the solutions that we're going to review. And business process automation is one of those tools. Business process automation is one of those first steps, one of those initial steps into your automation journey. So moving past business process automation, we also have robotic process automation. We can refer to robotic process automation as semi-intelligent AI. And similar to business process automation, BPA can perform repetitive tasks for that day-to-day decision making. One of the perfect examples of RPA are chatbots. So love them or hate them, chatbots are one example of business process automation or of robotic process automation. Although chatbots are used a lot within the e-commerce space, RPA has begun to be adopted within ERP applications, CRM applications, TMS applications, and also in another Gartner study, Gartner said by 2022, 65% of organizations will adopt or introduce some method of AI, ML, or natural language processing within these robotic process automation tools. So essentially, we're going to integrate AI and ML into chatbots. Okay, within ERP applications, within these e-commerce applications. I believe that outside of these e-commerce applications and ERP applications and transferring it to our industry, I would see that RPA would be beneficial in assessing the accuracy of bills of materials. Within a CRM environment or a customer service environment, RPA would be beneficial in receiving quick answers. So if you're on the phone with the customer, you could use RPA to receive a quick answer. Another way in which I describe RPA is think of Siri within your ERP application. Think of Siri within your CRM application. So that's where RPA beneficial, and the solutions continue to grow for RPA. So next, we have machine learning. I'm pretty sure a number of you have heard of the term machine learning or ML. And machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. Now, machine learning is essentially where we would give the tool data and let the machine learn on its own. Okay. Now there are different methods of unsupervised learning, supervised learning, and reinforced learning. We won't go into detail with that because that is an hour conversation in itself. Now, I would say that so that tool, the machine can learn from its mistakes. If the tool does not have the answer, then a human could intervene and give it the answer. And then once the machine receives the answer, then it can store that in the knowledge base. And once that situation arises again, it pulls that data from knowledge base and knows what process to take in the next step. So I would say that, and I also want to stress that from an ML perspective, this is very beneficial in industrial environments if and only if your data is accurate. And that would be with any one of these tools. I would say most importantly with machine learning, because the foundation is the data within machine learning. If your data is inaccurate, the machine learning is not going to be accurate. And it's not going to be, it could actually be a detriment to your organization if you're giving it inaccurate data. And I would also say that a number of vendors market artificial intelligence as AI, but in reality, it is a strong, a strong machine learning tool. Okay. Now, I will also say as we move into our discussion of AI, I would say this is probably the slide you've been waiting for. I also want to apologize in that I may be disappointing you in that we are a ways away from true AI within the industrial sector. Now, there are some industries that are using true artificial intelligence. I would say that the insurance industry is using artificial intelligence. I would say that in some sectors of healthcare, we're using some areas of artificial intelligence, but because they're using artificial intelligence, we are uncovering issues with artificial intelligence. And although it's outside of the scope of this discussion, it needs to be stressed in that we need to remove the bias out of artificial intelligence algorithms, machine learning algorithms, robotic process automation algorithms, in that they have bias, they have prejudice. We're seeing that a lot within the financial industry, we're seeing it within the healthcare industry. As this begins to grow within the industrial sector, I would say that we need to think about how can we come to a consensus audit when we are developing these algorithms within our given industry. Okay, and I would say that's going to come with diversity, with diverse people reviewing these algorithms, with diverse individuals reviewing these algorithms from different. It's not, again, it doesn't come. It's not just about race. It's coming from different male, females, and based on gender, based on age, based on region, based on different work environments. So we have to consider all of those things when we're talking about these algorithms, and we're talking about these emerging technologies. Now, getting back to AI, I would say that people ask the question, well, you say that we're a ways away from AI, but if you have strong ML algorithms and you are able to teach those tools all of the scenarios that may come up in a certain environment, can you get to a true AI environment? Maybe, maybe. It depends on the situations. And I will also say that we have, I would say, as of about 5 months ago, there are some people within the industry. So there are some organizations creating project management. So they're calling them PMAI applications. So they're using AI algorithms for project management to assess risk. So they're using the data, and the system is returning scenarios with confidence levels. So with those situations, I say we're going in the right direction in terms of a true AI solution. So if you're watching this recording in the future, as of December 2nd, 2020, I would say that we are a ways away from true artificial intelligence within the industrial sector. If you're watching this 6 months from now, we may be having a totally different discussion. So and that's how quickly these solutions are being introduced, and VCs are funding these organizations, and we're going to continue to see solutions emerge within the industry. Now, that is a good thing, in that now we're going to be able to implement these solutions at a cheaper price, at a lower price. So yes, we're at the early stages. We're at the infancy stages of the introduction of AI within the industry, and it's going to continue to emerge, and I'm very excited about that. Now, with all of these solutions, how do we get there? How do we start? Where do we start? How do I know whether or not my organization is ready for a business process automation tool, a robotic process automation tool, a machine learning tool, or to kind of dabble into the early AI applications? And that is where a maturity model is going to come into play. So I've been working with Next Gen Group on developing a maturity model for the industry in terms of digital transformations. And we've seen maturity models in the past that look at people, process, and technology. Now, what Next Gen Group has done is they have expanded upon that, in that they have looked at so let's look at it from an operational perspective. Where is your maturity? Where is your readiness from an operational perspective? And then on the left hand side, we actually have our intra company maturity. So what's our maturity within our four walls within our organization? Okay. Now then we have a discussion of what's our maturity, what is our business partners maturity at these particular levels, because that's very important. So if we go through our operational perspective, we want to see operationally, business process wise, what is our maturity in adopting this technology? If we look at the BPA, what's our maturity? RPA. If we look at machine learning, what's our maturity? Now we look at automation and control. How are we able to integrate our solutions with our ERP applications, with our sensors and things like that? Information processing. How good is our data? That's, again, I always say, let's get back to basics. Let's get into it. How good is our data? Because if we do not have accurate data from a machine learning perspective, from a BPA perspective, from an RPA perspective, we are pretty much going in a project as a failure. Let's just put it out. Let's get into it. I would say that you have to get your house in order before you even begin to consider these solutions. Okay. I've been implementing ERP applications for almost 2 decades now, and that's always the first thing that I always explain. I say you should have started cleansing your data in the kickoff meeting. I said you should have started cleansing your data last week. So that is the initial step. And in doing a number of different implementations, dozens of implementations, that's always one of the things that extend a project. That's always one of the things that create issues within the project. It's not the technology, it's the data, it's the environment, it's the people. Okay, so people talk about SAP being a bad solution. It's not the technology. SAP wouldn't be the largest ERP provider in the world if it was SAP itself. Okay. So if we look at process improvement, we want to understand what's your process improvement methodology within your organization. We want to say, okay, what's your digital transformation? Are we working off of are we trying to go from Excel to machine learning? Are we trying to go from a true ERP application with our data that our data is clean, to machine learning or robotic process automation? That's feasible. Okay, you can't jump from Excel to RPA, right? So that's what we talk about when we discuss the maturity of an organization, and we also talk about workforce development. In that, the most important piece is whenever we talk about these technologies, once again, it's going to augment your jobs. It's going to make your job easier. It's going to create more value added activities for your role. It's going to provide more promotional opportunities for your role. You have to explain the why. And I would say that, and people argue that automation is going to take over jobs. No, it's going to repurpose jobs. It's going to create new opportunities for those people performing those repetitive tasks. That's the most important piece. Whenever you talk about this automation, that's the most important piece that you have to discuss. Okay, so that's the maturity matrix. And if you want for further information, reach out to Doug Berger at nextgengroup.net, and he can discuss further on this. We're refining this process. And again, once you go through that with that current state, then we go through the same process to assess, okay, what do you want your future state to be? Because you may be at a level 2 in automation and control, but because of your processes, because of your organization, because of your environment, that may be fine with the 2. You may be fine with the 2. You may be fine with business process automation. Artificial intelligence the artificial intelligence tool, I should say, may not be applicable for you right now. It may not be applicable for you in a future state of 3 years. So that's why we create that current state maturity, and then we look at, okay, where do you want to go? Where do you want to work to? What is a future state? And then we develop a game plan to say, how do you get to that future state? Okay. So to wrap up, because I want to hold some time for questions. There's a lot of questions coming through. So call to action, as I said, develop an understanding of augmented intelligence. You have to explain to your workforce that this is only going to support your roles within your organization. This is not going to take over jobs. Okay. 2, assess your organization's maturity using that maturity model. 3, create buy-in within your organization, within your workforce. First of all, with your leadership, then within your workforce, and then expand that out to your business partners. And then finally, get back to basics. Get back to basics. Look at your data. Assess your data. Is your data accurate? Okay. And those are the call to action whenever you're assessing your organization's maturity. And that is based on experience in implementing applications throughout the years. That is based on working with institution in Germany on industrial automation, where I actually wrote 2 chapters on industrial automation and these emerging technologies. And I worked with the standards on industrial automation, where we talked about, what are the cybersecurity concerns for these tools. So that, again, that's another discussion, and that's one thing that we're working on. And there are standards coming out in terms of automating these emerging technologies. So there's a lot of good things coming out. Again, artificial intelligence, we're a ways away from true artificial intelligence, but the tool is here. It is not something that's futuristic, that's years to come. The tool is here. We're actually implement where the organizations are using it. We've seen the usage of artificial intelligence and its applicability within the current pandemic. But again, that's within certain sectors, and yes, it is coming within the manufacturing, distribution, warehousing industry. But again, true artificial intelligence with a machine making its own decisions, making its own processes, we're a ways away from that. I don't think that we can have the trust to have true artificial intelligence, because to have true artificial intelligence, our data needs to be accurate, and many organizations aren't there right now. So that's why I think that we're going to be a ways away from true artificial intelligence, and that true automation where there's going to be no human interaction. Okay, so thank you for that. I know we're getting short on time. Got less than 4 minutes. All right, so questions. So why is there a jump to 4.5 when we've only touched on 4.0? So I mentioned 4.5 because 4.0 did not include industrial and or include artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, and those technologies. I completely agree with you that we've only tipped the iceberg. I think that the goals of Industry 4.0, we got there with IoT. IoT is established, but I think that we need. I think we're in a different phase with the inclusion of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and blockchain, and we now you have other things such as digital twins. So you have a number of different edge computing. So you have a number of additional technologies that have been included within the space manufacturing, distribution, warehousing. And I think that we've only hit the tip of the iceberg just with the solutions themselves. Are there any other questions? I got one more minute. So thank you for that. Again, so finally, if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn often, and if you have any questions, we can begin a conversation. We'll hop on a Zoom call and we'll discuss. We'll discuss and argue about this industrial automation. Thank you.